Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Jonathan Tipo and today we'll be going over dimensional analysis. So as you can see, I have a whole bunch of red exclamation points here because it's absolutely essential that you know this. So take notes. So there are just basically one thing that you really had to know when you start this unit, and this is SI units, more importantly conversions. Conversion factors, conversion ratios, conversions, it's whatever. Because dimensional analysis, as you can see, is a way we can convert units. Right, so we can go from grams to milligrams to teragrams to micrograms, right? And when you get to the stoichiometry unit, this isn't module 1, but when you eventually do, you'll be able to go from grams to moles, back to grams, and then maybe even back to moles, and number of atoms. You get the idea, right? So if you do not get it right now, you're gonna have a hard time when it comes out to later modules. So how do you do it? There's two ways: the parenthetical method or the fence method. Kind of similar, but they have the exact same steps, right? So say I want to convert 2 teragrams to milligrams, right? Teragrams to milligrams. So first off, write what we know. Well, what do we know? Well, we know that we start off with 2 teragrams. We also know that we want to go from teragrams to milligrams. Cool. So step 2, write our conversions. So we do not know the exact conversions from teragrams to milligrams off the top of our head, but we do know, let me erase that. We do know that 1 teragram is equal to 1 times 10 to the 12 grams. We also know that 1 gram is equal to 1 times 10 to the 3rd milligrams, right? So you know that we can use 2 conversions. And number 3, pick a method. Well, we're going to use a parenthetical method this time, and then we'll move on to the fence method. Right now we're going to pick parenthetical method. And so solve. So parenthetical method is easy, right? As it says, we're going to use a whole bunch of parentheses. So the number of parentheses that you use is equal to the number of conversion ratios plus 1. So it's number of conversions plus 1. And then you can add more if you need it, but typically this is what you'll need, right? So in this first, as it's called parenthetical, in this first parentheses, we put what we are given over 1, and then don't forget units. Then in our second one, this is where our first conversion. So we'll have want over have. Don't forget your units. And again, want over have units. What do I mean by want over have, right? So let's take this step by step. Actually, what are we given? So let's convert this to this, right? So we are given 2 teragrams, right? And what do I mean by want over have? Well, this is where our conversions ratio, our conversions would use. So let's look at our conversions. What do we have and what do we want? In this first conversion, well, we have teragrams, right? We have teragrams, denoted by this one. And according to this conversion ratio, what do we want? Well, we want grams. So in this part, it's just as easy as filling in the information that you already have. And I'm pretty sure you guys can see it. You can also see the conversion ratio. There's 1 teragram is equal to 1 times 10 to the 12 regular grams. So that's how you I guess, figure out what you want and what you have. So let's do this again. What do we want? Well, or easier said, what do we have? Well, right now we have grams. Why? Because when you multiply this, the teragrams will cancel out, leaving only grams. So we have grams here. And looking at this conversion, what do we want? Well, we want milligrams. So again, it's as simple as just plugging it in. So 1 times 10 to the third. Again, you can see how these grams cancel out. So really, it's just a matter of just multiplying across. Again, these are fractions, so, just multiply by fractions. So 1 times 1 times 1 is, of course, 1. And 2 times 10 to the 12 times 10 times 1 times 10 to the third. So actually, you're going to come up with 1 times 10. 2 times 10 to the 15. What? Milligrams. Right, and that's how you do it. Alright, so again, this is just a whole bunch of conversion ratios with want over have, want over have, want over have. So again, let's do the same problem, right? 2 teragrams to milligrams, because we know the answer. So, fence method. This is basically how the fence method looks. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is basically just a whole bunch of parentheses. So that's why I said it's kind of similar. It's kind of the same, but this is a little bit more cleaner in my opinion. So what do we know? Well, we know that we have 2 teragrams. We also know we want to convert from teragrams to milligrams. How do we do this? Teragrams to milligrams. How do we do this? Well, we know that 1 teragram is equal to 1 times 10 to the 12 regular grams. Right? And 1 gram is equal to 1 times 10 to the third milligrams. Right? And so I'm pulling these numbers off the top of my head because, again, I remember the table full of, the SI units table. So this is where I'm pulling this off the top of my head. So this is why you need to remember that table. Anyways, let's get started. So first off, what are we given? So we're given 2 teragrams. Again, this is want over have. Want over have. So what do you have? We have teragrams. Let's look at our conversions. Which one of our conversions have teragrams in it? Well, this first one does. So that's the conversion ratio we're going to use. So doing want over have, we want grams, I have teragrams. And we'll just plug this in, times 10 to the 12 grams. And are we done yet? No, because we have grams, we actually want milligrams. But that's easy, because we have another conversion, right? So we said that we have grams, and we want milligrams. Well, again, you just use this one, right? So it's 1 gram and 1 times 10 to the third milligrams. Pretty simple. So again, you just multiply across, right? So on the top we'll have 2 teragrams times 1 times 10 to the 12 times 1 times 10 to the third. So it'll look something like this. 2 times 1 times 10 to the 12 times 1 times 10 to the third. And that gives over, my bad, 1 times 1. That gives us 2 times 10 to the 15th. Just use your calculator for this part. This is why you need that scientific calculator. Yeah. That's basically the fundamentals. But this works both ways, and let me show you. You can convert from small to big as well. This is going to be my last example of today, so I just want to warn you. So 346, let's use milliliters, to kiloliters. I know that sounds a little bit weird. Kind of just be done with it, you know? So kiloliters. So what do we know? Well, we know that we have 346 milliliters. And we also know that we want to move from milliliters to kiloliters, right? This means that we're going to have to convert from milliliters to liters and liters to kiloliters. How do we do that? Well, that's when these conversions come in. So again, 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters, and we know 1 kiloliter, that's a lowercase, is equal to 1,000 liters. So again, we start off our thing with what we are given, 346 milliliters. And then want over have. Remember, want over have. So what do we have? We have milliliters, and according to our two equations, which equation do you think we should use? Well, this top conversion is the one we're going to use just because it has milliliters, right? It's the only one that fits. So this has milliliters to liters. And so that's a 1,000 to 1 ratio. Then we can cross this out, and we're left with this one. Liters right here, because this is what we have. Then that's 1,000 to 1 kiloliter. So again, I just want to show you why this thing works. It's because you're able to cross these units out, and we're left with that one unit that we want. So we'll just multiply across, and what we actually have is 346 over 1,000 times 1,000 kiloliters, right? Or let's plug this into our calculator. (3.46 times 10 to the negative 4th kiloliter). Alright, that concludes the end of this video on dimensional analysis. If you have more questions, please refer to the module workbook. There's tons of practice problems there, as well as another explanation if this one did not suit you. But then again, you can always just ask your peer leader for more help. They'll be happy to help you. So that concludes it for this video. We'll see you in the next one.